Good morning, all of you. Today we will start with sonnet and Shakespeare's sonnet number 1 from fairest creature we desire increase. So the question arises, what is sonnet? Sonnets are poems that meet the following rules. Number 1, all sonnets are 14 lines long. Number 2, sonnets in English are written in iambic pentameter, which means that each line has 10 syllables, alternating in an unstressed followed by stressed pattern. Number 3, sonnets follow a predetermined rhyme scheme. The rhyme pattern determines if the sonnet is Petrarchan, Shakespearean, or Spenserian. Okay, Petrarchan sonnets have 14 lines divided into two subgroups, an octave and a sestet. The octave follows a rhyme scheme of ABBA, ABBA, and the sestet follows one of two rhyme schemes, either CDE, CDE or CDC, CDC. Petrarch also refined a particular type of sonnet known as the blazon. A blazon is a sonnet that catalogues the feature or traits of his subject, usually a woman, and describes them usually using hyperboles, metaphor, or simile. Shakespearean sonnets. Shakespearean sonnets are composed of 14 lines and most are divided into three quatrains and a final concluding couplet. Rhyming scheme of Shakespearean sonnet is A B A B C D C D E F E F G G. This sonnet form and rhyme scheme is known as English sonnet. Why? It first appeared in the poetry of Henry Howard, Earl of Surrey, who translated Italian sonnets into English as well as composing his own. Many later Renaissance English writers used the sonnet form, and Shakespeare did so particularly inventively. We see many examples of literary devices in Shakespeare's poetry, such as alliteration, assonance, antithesis, enjambment, metonymy, metaphor, synecdoche, oxymoron, and personification. Later we will see uh, uh, how Shakespeare has used all these literary devices in his sonnets. Next comes Spenserian sonnet. Spenserian sonnet is a variation on Shakespearean sonnet with a more challenging rhyme scheme AB AB, BC BC, CD CD, E E. Okay, and Miltonic sonnet. They don't have a fixed pattern. Sometimes they would stretch beyond traditional limits on rhyme. Now we come to Shakespeare's sonnet number 1 from fairest creature we desire increase. Let me read it to you. From fairest creature we desire increase, that thereby beauty's rose might never die. But as the riper should by time decease, his tender air might bear his memory. But thou, contracted to thine own bright eyes, fillest thy light's flame with self-substantial fuel, making a famine where abundance lies, thyself thy foe, to thy sweet self too cruel. Thou that art now the world's fresh ornament, and only herald to the gaudy spring, within thine own bud buryest thy content, and tender child makest waste in gardening. Pity the world, or else this glutton be, to eat the world's due by the grave and thee. Although love is the overreaching theme of the sonnets, there are three specific underlying themes: the brevity of life, the transience of beauty, the trappings of desire, and procreation, immortality, time's unceasing progress, and in some poem, narcissist attitude also. The first two of these underlying themes are the focus of the early sonnets addressed to the young man. In particular, sonnet number 1 to 17, where the poet argues that having children to carry on one's beauty is the only way to conquer the ravages of time. In the middle sonnets of the young man sequence, the poet tries to immortalize the young man through his own poetry. Sonnet number 127 marks a shift to the third theme and the poet's intense sexual affair with a woman known as the Dark Lady. The mood of the sonnet in this sequence is dark, and love as a sickness is a prominent motive. Okay, now we come to the poem From Fairest Creature We Desire Increase. Okay, fairest creatures, fairest सुपरलेटिव डिग्री यहाँ पे यूज हुआ है. फेयरेस्ट क्रीचर्स मीन्स ऑल लिविंग थिंग्स दैट आर ब्यूटिफुल, दैट आर मोस्ट ब्यूटिफुल, फेयरेस्ट क्रीचर्स. ओके, इंक्रीज मीन्स procreation, offsprings, isn't it? From fairest creatures we desire increase. The fairest creatures are therefore is his friend. We all want the best looking people to have children so that their beauty can be appreciated by future generations, isn't it? That thereby beauty's rose might never die. From fairest creatures we desire increase, that thereby beauty's rose might never die. Thereby, in that way, beauty's rose. The rose was symbolic of all beautiful things. By reproducing itself, it could become immortal, isn't it? So Shakespeare here also requesting his friend to reproduce so that he may become immortal. From fairest creatures we desire increase, that thereby beauty's rose might never die. But as the riper should by time disease, riper means older, more mature, more ready for harvesting. By time disease means die in a course of time. Means for once the elder has passed away, his young will share the memory of his ancestors' beauty. But thou, contracted to thine own bright eyes, feedest thy light's flame with self-substantial fuel. Here poet says, but you, obsessed with your own beauty, selfishly consuming all of that beauty's light, isn't it? Making a famine where abundance lies, thyself thy foe, to thy sweet self too cruel. Here, a narcissist behavior of poet's friend can be seen, that but thou contracted to thine own bright eyes, feedest thy light's flame with self-substantial fuel. इतने हैंडसम हो, इतने ब्यूटीफुल हो कि तुम अपनी ही इमेज से अपने आप को मिरर में देख के इतने सेल्फ सेटिस्फाइड हो गए हो कि तुम अपनी ब्यूटी अपनी खूबसूरती किसी के साथ तुम शेयर नहीं करना चाहते। मेकिंग अ फेमिन वेयर अबंडेंस लाइज, जहाँ पे बहुत सारे तुम्हारे जैसे खूबसूरत लोग, हैंडसम लोग, वर्चुअस पीपल you can reproduce. Making a famine, you are making a famine, okay, depriving the world of that beauty where there is plenty to be had by all. You are your own enemy, you are cruel to your own sweet self for not having a child to carry on your memory. Thou that art now the world's fresh ornament and only herald to the gaudy spring, isn't it? You who are now a beautiful thing on earth, इतने हैंडसम हो, इतने वर्चुअस हो, और आने वाले इतने ही वर्चुअस और बहुत से लोगों के तुम मैसेंजर बन सकते हो, तुम ऐसे लोगों के पेरेंट बन सकते हो, ठीक है। व्हेन यू beget children, when you reproduce your children, you who are a new beautiful thing on earth and the one who announces the coming of spring, isn't it? Within thine own but buriest thy content, तुम्हारी खूबसूरती का राज, तुम्हारी वर्चुअस ट्रेड कैरेक्टरिस्टिक का राज तुम्हारे अंदर ही दफन है। तुम ही उसको स्प्रेड कर सकते हो, तुम ही से कोई चीज़ रिप्रोड्यूस हो सकती है। Within thine own but buriest thy content, and thunder shall makest waste in negarding. Okay, you are burying your self-satisfied beauty within yourself, and what you are doing? You are wasting it by being selfish. And the last line, uh, Shakespeare says that pity the world, or else this glutton be, to eat the world's due by the grave and thee. He says, he requests his friend to have pity on the world and bear a child. Otherwise, you are a glutton, keeping your beauty to yourself by taking it with you to the grave. So, dear students, I have tried to summarize in these slides. You can read and read the slides again. Okay, thank you very much. We will come with a new sonnet in next video. Thank you very much.